Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Marhaba. Assalamu alaikum. Ana Cynthia Samson में कनाती में al Arabiyati al Akbariyati. Welcome everybody. This is Cynthia Samson from Mayan Arab News Channel. So today we are going to study the next verse, that is from Surah Al Baqarah, that is from 211 to 259. اليوم سوف ندرس الآية من مئتان وأحد عشر إلى مئتان وتسعة خمسون من سورة البقرة. So let's start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So we are going to study the next verse, that is from 211 to 215. Sal bani Isra'ila kam ataynahum min ayatim bayinaha wa mani yubadil nimatallahi min ba'di ma jathu fa innallaha shahidul iqab. Zuina lillazina kafarul hayatud dunya wa yaskharuna minna lazina amana walazina taqaw fawqahum yawmal qiyamah wallahu yarzuqu man yasha'u bighairi hisab. Kana nasu ummatan wahidatan faba'atha lahun nabiyyina mubashirina wa munzirina wa anzala ma'ahumul kitaba bil haqqi liya hakuma bayna nasi fima talafa fihi wa talafa fihi illa lazina awtahu min ba'di ma jathumul baynatu baghyan baynahum fahadallahul lazina amanu lima khatalafa fihi minal haqqi bi iznihi wallahu yahdi man yasha'u ila siratin mustaqim. Am hasibtum an tadkhulul jannata wa lam yatikum mathalul lazina khalaw min qablikum masathumul basa'u wadarra'u wa zulzilu hatta yaqula rasulu wallazina amanu ma'ahu mata nasrullah. Allah inna nasra lallahi qarib yas'alunaka maza yunfikun kul ma anfaqtum min khairin falil walidaini wal aqrabina wal yatama wal masakini wabnis sabil wa ma taf'alu min khairin fa innallaha bihi alim. So what does it mean in English? So ask the children of Israel how many clear signs we have sent them, but if anyone after Allah's favor has come to him substitute something else, Allah is strict in punishment. The life of this world is alluring to those who reject faith, and they scoff at those who believe, but the righteous will be above them on the day of resurrection, for Allah bestows His abundance without measure on whom He will. Mankind was one single nation, and Allah sent messengers with glad tidings and warnings, and with them He sent the book in truth, to judge between people in matters wherein they differed, but the people of the book, after the clear signs came to them, did not differ among themselves except through selfish contumacy. Allah by His grace guided the believers to the truth concerning that wherein they differed, for Allah guides whom He will to a path that is straight. Or do ye think that ye shall enter the garden of bliss without such trials as came to those who passed away before you? They encountered suffering and adversity and were so shaken in spirit that even the apostle and those of faith who were with him cried, "When will come to help of Allah?" Ah, verily the help of Allah is always near. They ask thee what they should spend in charity. Say, whatever ye spend that is good is for parents and kindred, and orphans and those in want, and for wayfarers. And whatever ye do that is good, Allah knoweth it well. So now next verse we are going to study, that is from 216 to 219. So let's start. Kutiba alaykumul kitalu wa huwa kurhul lakum wa asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khairul lakum wa asa an tuhibbu shay'an wa huwa sharrul lakum wa lahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. Yas'alunaka ani shahril harami qitalin fihi kul qitalun fihi kabir wa saddun an sabilillahi wa kufrum bihi wal masjidil harami wa ikhraju ahlihi minhu akbaru inda laha wal fitnatu akbaru minal qatl wa la yazalluna yuqatilunakum hatta yaruddukum an dinikum in istata'u wa mani yartadid minkum an dinihi fayamut wa huwa kafirun ulaika habitat amaluhum fid dunya wa akhirah wa ulaika ashabun narihum fiha khalidun innal lazina amanu wal lazina hajara wa jahadaw fi sabilillahi ulaika yarjuna rahmatallahi wallahu ghafurur rahim. Yas'alunaka anil khamri wal maisir kul fihima ithmun kabirun wa manafi'u linnasi wa ithmuhuma akbaru min nafhihima wa yas'alunaka maza yunfikuna kulil wa kazalika yubayyinu lahu yalakumul ayati la alakum tatafakkarun. So what does it mean in English? Fighting is prescribed for you and ye dislike it. But it is possible that ye dislike a thing which is good for you and that ye love a thing which is bad for you. But Allah knoweth and ye know not. They ask thee concerning fighting in the prohibited month. Say, fighting therein is a grave offense, but graver is it in the sight of Allah to prevent access to the path of Allah, to deny Him, to prevent access to the sacred mosque and drive out its members. Tumult and oppression are worse than slaughter, nor will they cease fighting you until they turn you back from your faith if they can. And if any of you turn back from their faith and die in unbelief, their works will bear no fruit in this life, and in the hereafter they will be companions of the fire and will abide therein. Those who believed and those who suffered exile and fought and struggled in the path of Allah, they have the hope of the mercy of Allah, and Allah is the oft-forgiving, most merciful. They ask thee concerning wine and gambling. Say, in them is great sin and some profit for men, but the sin is greater than the profit. They ask thee how much they are to spend. Say, what is beyond your needs. Thus doth Allah make clear to you His signs in order that ye may consider. Now next comes the verse that is from 220 to 224. So let's start. Fid dunya wal akhirah wa yas'alunaka anil yatama kul islahu lahum khair wa in tukhallituhum fa ikwanukum wallahu ya'lamul mufsida minal muslihin. وَلَوْ شَاءَ لَهُ لَعَنَتَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ وَلَا تَنكِحُوا الْمُشْرِكَاتِ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنَّ وَلَا أَمَةٌ مُؤْمِنَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن rikatin wa lo ajabatkum walla tunkihul mushrikina hatta yuminna walla abdum mu'minun khairum mim mushrikin wa lo ajabakum ulaika yadawna ila nar wallahu yadaw ila jannati wal maghfirati bi iznihi wa yubaynu ayatihi linnasi la allahum yatazakkaran wa yas'alunaka anil mahid qul huwa azan fatazilun nisaa fil mahid wa la taqrabu hunna hatta yadkhul fa iza tataharna fatawhunna min haythu amarakumullah innallaha yuhibbut tawabina wa yuhibbul mutatahhirin nisa ukum harthul lakum fataw hartakum anna shitum wa qadimau li anfusikum wattaqullaha wa lamau annakum mulaqahum wa bashiril mu'minin wa la taj'alullaha urdatan li aymanikum an tabarraw wa tattaqaw wa tuslihu bainan nas wallahu sami'un alim. So what does it mean in English? Excuse me. Okay. So, their bearings on this life and hereafter. They ask the concerning orphans, say, the best thing to do is what is for their good. If ye mix their affairs with yours, they are your brethren. But Allah knows the man who means mischief from the man who means good. And if Allah had wished, He could have put you into difficulties. He is indeed exalted in power, wise. Do not marry unbelieving women, idolaters, until they believe. A slave woman who believes is better than an unbelieving woman, even though she allure you. Nor marry your girls to unbelievers until they believe. A man slave who believes is better than an unbeliever, even though he allure you. Unbelievers do but beckon you to the fire, but Allah beckons by His grace to the garden of bliss and forgiveness, and makes His signs clear to mankind, that they may celebrate His praise. They ask thee concerning women's courses, say they are a hurt and a pollution, so keep away from women in their courses and do not approach them until they are clean. But when they have purified themselves, ye may approach them in any manner, time or place ordained for you by Allah. For Allah loves those who turn to Him constantly, and He loves those who keep themselves pure and clean. Your wives are as a tilt unto you, so approach your tilt when or how ye will, but do some good act for your souls beforehand, and fear Allah, and know that ye are to meet Him in the hereafter, and give these good tidings to those who believe, and make not Allah's name an excuse in your oaths against doing good or acting rightly or making peace between persons, for Allah is one who heareth and knoweth all things. So now next verse, that is from 225 to 230. Okay. La yu'akhizukumullahu bil lagwi fi aymanikum walakin akhizukum bima kasabat qulubukum wallahu ghafurun halim lillazina yuluna min nisaihim tarabusu arba'ati ashhur fa in fa'u fa inna laha ghafurun غفور رحیم وَإِنْ أَزَمُطَلَّقَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ وَلَا يَحِلُّ لَهُنَّ أَنْ يَكْتُمْنَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِي أَرْحَامِهِنَّ إِن كُنَّ يُؤْمِنَّ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَبُعُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ إِنْ أَرَادُوا إِصْلَاحًا وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ وَاللَّهُ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ الطَّلَاقُ مرتان فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان ولا يحل لكم أن تأخذوا مما آتيتموهن شيئا إلا أن يخافا ألا يقيما حدود الله فإن خفتم ألا يقيما حدود الله فلا جناح عليهما فيما افتدت به تلك حدود الله فلا تعتدوها ومن يتعدى حدود الله فأولئك هم الظالمون فإن طلقها فلا تحل له من بعد حتى تنكح زوجا غيرها فإن طلقها فلا جناح عليهما أن يتراجعا إن زنا أن يقيما حدود الله وتلك حدود الله يبينها لقوم يعلمون. So what does it mean in English? Allah will not call you to account for thoughtlessness in your oaths, but for the intention in your hearts, and He is oft forgiving, most forbearing for those who take an oath for abstention from their wives, awaiting for 4 months is ordained. If then they return, Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. But if their intention is firm for divorce, Allah heareth and knoweth all things. Divorced women shall wait concerning themselves for 3 monthly periods, nor is it lawful for them to hide what Allah hath created in their wombs. If they have faith in Allah and the last day, and their husbands have the better right to take back in that period if they wish for reconciliation, and women shall have rights similar to the rights against them according to what is equitable, but men have a degree of advantage over them, and Allah is exalted in power wise. A divorce is only permissible twice. After that, the parties should either hold together on equitable terms or separate with kindness. It is not lawful for you men to take back any of your gifts from your wives except when both parties fear that they would be unable to keep the limits ordained by Allah. If ye judges do indeed fear that they would be unable to keep the limits ordained by Allah, there is no blame on either of them if she gives something for her freedom. These are the limits ordained by Allah, so do not transgress them. If any do transgress the limits ordained by Allah, such persons wrong themselves as by Allah, so do not transgress them. If any do transgress the limits ordained by Allah, such persons wrong themselves as well as others. So if a husband divorces his wife irrevocably, he cannot after that remarry her until after she has married another man. and he has divorced her. In that case, there is no blame on either of them if they reunite, provided they feel that they can keep the limits ordained by Allah. Such are the limits ordained by Allah, which He makes plain to those who understand. So now comes the next verse, that is from 231 to 233. Excuse me, it's so hot. Okay. وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَأَمْسِكُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ سَرِّحُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ وَلَا تُمْسِكُوهُنَّ ضِرَارًا لِتَعْتَدُوا وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَمَا أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ يَعِظُكُمْ بِهِ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ أَن يَنكِحْنَ أَزْوَاجَهُنَّ إِذَا تَرَاضَوْا بَيْنَهُم بِالْمَعْرُوفِ ذَلِكَ يُوعَظُ بِهِ مَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ ذَلِكُمْ أَزْكَى لَكُمْ وَأَطْهَرُ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ لِمَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يُتِمَّ رَضَاعَةَ وَلِلْمَوْلُودِ لَهُ رِزْقُهُنَّ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود له بولده وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك فإن أرادا فسالا عن تراضٍ منهما وتشاور فلا جناح عليهما وإن أردتم أن تسترضعوا أولادكم فلا جناح عليكم إذا سلمتم ما آتيتم بالمعروف واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله بما تعملون بصير. So what does it mean in English? So, when ye divorce women and they fulfill the terms of their iddat, either take them back on equitable terms or set them free on equitable terms, but do not take them back to injure them or to take undue advantage. If anyone does that, he wrongs his own soul. Do not treat Allah's sign as a jest, but solemnly rehearse Allah's favor on you and the fact that He sent down to you the book and wisdom for your instruction. And fear Allah, and know that Allah is well acquainted with all things. When ye divorce women and they fulfill the terms of their iddat, do not prevent them from marrying their former husbands if they mutually agree on equitable terms. This instruction is for all amongst you who believe in Allah and the last day. That is the course making for most virtue and purity amongst you, and Allah knows and ye know not. The mothers shall give suck to their offspring for 2 whole years if the father desires to complete the term, but he shall bear the cost of their food and clothing on equitable terms. No soul shall have a burden laid on it greater than it can bear. No mother shall be treated unfairly on account of their child, nor father on account of his child, and heir shall be chargeable in the same way if they both decide on weaning by mutual consent and after due consultation, there is no blame on them. If ye decide on a foster mother for your offspring, there is no blame on you, provided ye pay the mother what ye offered on equitable terms. But fear Allah and know that Allah sees well what ye do. So now comes the next verse, that is from 234 to 237. So, وَالَّذِينَ يُتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَعَشْرًا فَإِذَا بَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِيمَا فَعَلْنَ فِي أَنفُسِهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ وَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِيمَا أَرَدتُّمْ بِهِ مِنْ خِطْبَةِ النِّسَاءِ أَوْ أَكْنَنْتُمْ فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ سَتَذْكُرُونَهُنَّ وَلَكِنْ لَا تُوَعِدُوهُنَّ سِرًّا إِلَّا أَنْ تَقُولُوا قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا وَلَا تَعْزِمُوا عقدة النكاح حتى يبلغ الكتاب أجله واعلموا أن الله يعلم ما في أنفسكم فاحذروه واعلموا أن الله غفور حليم لا جناح عليكم إن طلقتم النساء ما لم تمسوهن أو تفرضوا لهن فريضة ومتعوهن على الموسع قدره وعلى المقتر قدره متاعا بالمعروف حقا على المحسنين وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَن تَمَسُّوهُنَّ وَقَدْ فَرَضْتُمْ لَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ إِلَّا أَن يَعْفُونَ أَوْ يَعْفُوَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ عُقْدَةُ النِّكَاحِ وَأَن تَعْفُوا أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. So what does it mean in English? If any of you die and leave widows behind, they shall wait concerning themselves 4 months and 10 days when they have fulfilled their term. There is no blame on you if they dispose of themselves in a just and reasonable manner, and Allah is well acquainted with what ye do. There is no blame on you if ye make an offer of betrothal or hold it in your hearts. Allah knows that ye cherish them in your hearts, but do not make a secret contract with them except in terms honorable, nor resolve on the tie of marriage till the term prescribed is fulfilled. And know that Allah is knoweth what is in your hearts, and take heed of him, and know that Allah is oft forgiving, most forbearing. There is no blame on you if ye divorce women before consummation or fixation of their dower, but bestow on them a suitable gift, the wealthy according to his means and the poor according to his means. A gift of a reasonable amount is due from those who wish to do the right thing. And if ye divorce them before consummation, but after the fixation of a dower for them, then the half of the dower is due to them, unless they remit it, or the man's half is remitted by him in whose hands is the marriage tie, and the remission of the man's half is the nearest to righteousness. And do not forget liberality between yourselves, for Allah sees well all that ye do. So now next comes the verse, that is from 238 to 245. حفیظو اللہ صلواتی و صلاtil وسطی و قومو للہ قنیتن فإن خفتم فرجال أو ركبانا فإذا أمنتم فاذكروا الله كما علمكم ما لم تكونوا تعلمون والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا وصية لأزواجهم متاعا إلا الحول غير إخراج فإن خرجنا فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلنا في أنفسهن من معروف واللہ عزیز حکیم وللمطلقات متاع بالمعروف حقا علی المتقین کذالک یبین اللہ لکم آیاتہ لعلکم تعقلون الم تر الی الذین خرجوا من دیارہم وهم ألوف حذر الموت فقال لهم موت ثم أحياهم إن الله لذو فضل على الناس ولكن أكثر الناس لا يشكرون وقاتلوا في سبيل الله واعلموا أن الله سميع عليم من ذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا فيضاعفه له أضعافا كثيرة والله يقبض ويبسط وإليه ترجعون. So what does it mean in English? 1 minute, sorry. So, guard strictly your habit of prayers, especially the middle prayer, and stand before Allah in a devout frame of mind. If ye fear an enemy, pray on foot or riding as may be most convenient. But when ye are in security, celebrate Allah's praises in the manner He has taught you, which ye knew not before. Those of you who die and leave widows should bequeath for their widows a year's maintenance and residence, but if they leave the residence, there is no blame on you for what they do with themselves, provided it is reasonable, and Allah is exalted in power wise. For divorced women, maintenance should be provided on a reasonable scale. This is a duty on the righteous. Thus doth Allah make clear His signs to you in order that ye may understand. Didst thou not turn by vision to those who abandoned their homes, though they were thousands in number, for fear of death? Allah said to them, die. Then He restored them to life, for Allah is full of bounty to mankind, and most of them are ungrateful. Then fight in the cause of Allah, and know that Allah heareth and knoweth all things. Who is he? What will loan to Allah? A beautiful loan, which Allah will double unto his credit and multiply many times. It is Allah that giveth you want or plenty, and to Him shall be your return. So now next comes okay. So next verse comes from 246 to 248. Alam tara illal mala'i min bani Israila min ba'di Musa is kalau linnabiyil lahum mub'atlana malikan nuqatil fi sabilillah kalahal asaytum in kutiba alaykumul qitalu Allah tuqatilu kalau wa man kalau wa ma lana ala nuqatila fi sabilillahi wa qad ukhrijna من ديارنا وأبنائنا فلا أما كتب عليهم القتال تعالوا إلى قليل منهم والله عليم بالظالمين وقال لهم نبيهم إن الله قد بَتَ لَكُمْ طَلَوْتَ مَلِكًا قَالُوا أَنَّى يَكُونُ لَهُ الْمُلْكُ عَلَيْنَا وَنَحْنُ أَحَقُّ بِالْمُلْكِ مِنْهُ وَلَمْ يُؤْتَ سَعَةً مِنَ الْمَالِ قَالَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَاهُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَزَادَهُ بَسْطَةً فِي الْعِلْمِ وَالْجِسْمِ وَاللَّهُ يُؤْتِي مُلْكَهُ مَن يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ وَقَالَ لَهُمْ نَبِيُّهُمْ إِنَّ آيَةَ مُلْكِهِ أَن يَأْتِيَكُمُ التَّابُوتُ فِيهِ سَكِينَةٌ مِّن رَّبِّكُمْ وَبَقِيَّةٌ مِّمَّا تَرَكَ آلُ مُوسَىٰ وَآلُ هَارُونَ تحمله الملائكة إن في ذلك لآية لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. So what does it mean in English? Hast thou not turned thy vision to the chiefs of the children of Israel after the time of Moses? They said to a prophet that was among them, appoint for us a king that we may fight in the cause of Allah. He said, is it not possible if ye were commanded to fight that ye will not fight? They said, how could we refuse to fight in the cause of Allah, seeing that we were turned out of our homes and our families? But when they were commanded to fight, they turned back, except a small band among them. But Allah has full knowledge of those who do wrong. Their prophet said to them, Allah hath appointed Talut as king over you. They said, how can he exercise authority over us when we are better fitted than he to exercise authority, and he is not even gifted with wealth in abundance? He said, Allah hath chosen him above you and hath gifted him abundantly with knowledge and bodily prowess. Allah granteth his authority to whom he pleaseth. Allah careth for all, and he knoweth all things. And further their prophet said to them, a sign of his authority is that there shall come to you the ark of the covenant, with an assurance therein of security from your Lord, and the relics left by the family of Moses and the family of Aaron, carried by angels. In this is the symbol for you, if ye indeed have faith. So now comes the next verse, that is from 249 to 259. فَلَمَّا فَصَلَ طَلَعْتُ بِالْجُنُودِ قَالَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مُبْتَلِيكُم بِنَهَرٍ فَمَنْ شَرِبَ مِنْهُ فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي وَمَن لَّمْ يَطْعَمْهُ فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي إِلَّا مَنِ اغْتَرَفَ غُرْفَةً بِيَدِهِ فَاشْرِبُوا مِنْهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِّنْهُمْ فَلَمَّا جَاءَ هُوَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ قَالُوا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا الْيَوْمَ بِجَالُوتَ وَجُنُودِهِ قَالَ الَّذِينَ يَظُنُّونَ أَنَّهُم مُّلَاقُو اللَّهِ كَم مِّن فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةً كَثِيرَةً بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. وَلَمَّا بَرَزَ زولی جلوت و جنودی قالوا ربنا افرغ علینا صبران و ثبت اقدامنا وانصرنا علی القوم الکافرین فہزموہم بإذن اللہ وقتل داود جالوت وآتاہ اللہ الملک والحکمت مما یشاء ولولا دفع اللہ الناس بعضهم ببعض لفسدت الارض ولکن اللہ ذو فضل علی العالمین تلک آیات اللہ نتلوها علیک بالحق وانک لمن المرسلین. So what does it mean in English? When Talut set forth with the armies, he said, Allah will test you at the stream. If any drinks of its water, he goes not with my army. Only those who taste not of it go with me. A mere sip of the hand is excused, but they all drank of it, except a few. When they crossed the river, he and the faithful ones with him, they said, this day we cannot cope with Goliath and his forces, but those who were convinced that they must meet Allah said, how oft by Allah's will hath a small force vanquished a big one? Allah is with those who steadfastly persevere. When they advanced to meet Goliath and his forces, they prayed, our Lord, pour out constancy on us and make our steps firm. Help us against those that reject faith. By Allah's will, they routed them, and David slew Goliath, and Allah gave him power and wisdom and taught him whatever else he willed. And did not Allah check one set of people by means of another? The earth would indeed be full of mischief, but Allah is full of bounty to all the worlds. These are the signs of Allah. We rehearse them to thee in truth. Verily, thou art one of the apostles. So, now comes the next verse. That is from 253 to 256. Okay. Tilkar Rusulu Fadalna Badahum Allah Bad. Minhum man kalama laha wa rafa abadahum darajat wa atayna isabna Maryam al baynati wa ayyadnahu birohil qudus wa law shallahu maqattata lazina min ba'di majjat humul baynatu wa lakin niktalafaw fa minhum man nam'anna wa minhum man kafar wa law shallahu maqtatalaw wa lakinallahu laha yafalu ma yurid. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu anfiqu mimma razaqnakum min qabli an ya'tiya yawmun la bay'un fihi wala khullatun wa la shahfaha wal kafiruna humuz zalimun. Allahu la ilaha illa Allah huwal hayyul qayyum la takhuzuhu sinatun wa la nawm lahu ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard manzal lazi yashfa'u indahu illa bi iznihi ya'lamu ma baina aydihim wa ma khalfahum wa la yuhituna bi shay'in min ilmi illa bima sha wasi'a kursiyyuhu samawati wal ardi wa la yudahu ذو ہمہ وهو العلی العظیم. لا اکراہ فی الدین قد تبین الرشد من الغی فمن یکفر بالطاغوت ویؤمن باللہ فقد استمسک بالعروۃ الوثقی لا انفصام لہا واللہ سمیع علیم. So what does it mean in English? Sorry. So, those apostles we endured with gifts, some above others. To one of them Allah spoke, others He raised to degrees of honor. To Jesus, the Son of Mary, we gave clear signs and strengthened Him with the Holy Spirit. If Allah had so willed, succeeding generations would not have fought among each other after clear signs had come to them, but they chose to wrangle, some believing and others rejecting. If Allah had so willed, they would not have fought each other, but Allah fulfilleth His plan. O ye who believe, spend out of the bounties we have provided for you before the day comes when no bargaining will avail, nor friendship nor intercession. Those who reject faith, they are the wrongdoers. Allah, there is no God but He, the living, the self-subsisting, eternal. No slumber can seize Him nor sleep. His are all things in the heavens and on earth. Who is there can intercede in His presence except as He permitteth. He knoweth what appeareth to His creatures, as before or after or behind them, nor shall they compass out of His knowledge except as He willeth. His throne doth extend over the heavens and the earth, and He feeleth no fatigue in guarding and preserving them, for He is the Most High, the Supreme in the glory. Let there be no compulsion in religion. Truth stands out clear from error. Whoever rejects evil and believes in Allah hath grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks, and Allah heareth and knoweth all things. So now comes next from 257 to 259. Allahu waliyullazina amanu yukhrijuhum minnas zulumati ila nur walallazina kafaru awliyauhum at-taghut yukhrijunahum minan nuri illa zulumat ulaika ashabun nar hum fiha khalidun. Alam tara illa lazi hajja Ibrahima fi rabbihi an atahul mulka is qala Ibrahimu rabbi ya lazi yuhyi wa yumitu qala ana yuhyi wa umit qala Ibrahimu fa inna allaha yati bishamsi minal mashriqi fa tibiha minal maghribi fa buhitalla zi kafar wallahu la yahdil qawma zalimin. Aw kalla zi marra ala qaryatin wa hiya khawiyatun ala urushiha qala anna yuhyi hazihi lahu ba'da mautiha fa amatahu lahu mi'ata amithuma ba'taha kala kam la bit kala la bittu yawman aw ba'da yawm kala bal labittaha mi'ata amin fanzur illa tamika wa sharabika lam yatasanha once or illa himarika wal لنجعلك آية للناس وانظر إلى العظام كيف ننشزها ثم نكسوها لحما فلما تبين له قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. So what does it mean in English? So, Allah is the protector of those who have faith from the depth of darkness. He will lead them forth into light of those who reject faith. The patrons are the evil ones from light. They will lead them forth into the depth of the darkness. They will be companions of the fire to dwell therein forever. Hast thou not turned thy vision to one who disputed with Abraham about his Lord, because Allah had granted him power? Abraham said, My Lord is he who giveth life and death. He said, I gave life and death, said Abraham. But it is Allah that causeth the sun to rise from the east. Do thou then cause him to rise from the west. Thus was the confounded who in arrogance rejected faith, nor doth Allah give guidance to a couple unjust. Or take the similitude of one who passed by a hamlet all in ruins to its roofs. He said, Oh, how shall Allah bring it ever to life after this its death? But Allah caused him to die for 100 years, then raised him up again. He said, How long didst thou tarry thus? He said, Perhaps a day or part of a day. He said, Nay, thou hast tarried thus 100 years, but look at thy food and thy drink, they show no signs of age, and look at thy donkey, and that we make of thee a sign unto the people. Look further at the bones, how we bring them together and clothe them with flesh. When this was shown clearly to him, he said, I know that Allah hath power over all things. So, Hada kullu shay'in lihada liyomi. So that's all for the day. كانت هذه سينثيا سامسون من قناة ميان العربية الأخبارية. اشترك في قناتنا للأخبارية في العربية والإنجليزية والهندية. شكرا. So this was Cynthia Samson from Mayan Arab News channel. Subscribe to my news channel for latest news updates in Hindi, English and Arabic language. Thank you. Shukran. Khuda.